What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. And for this video, we're going to be getting into the Swamp Thing issue number 4. If you haven't had the opportunity to check out the previous issues, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on this brand new Swamp Thing that Ram V has introduced us to. Now, pencils and inks are Mike Perkins. It's colored by Mike Spicer. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so as we get into issue number 4, Levi and Jennifer are still trapped inside the green. After running some diagnostic tests on his brain, they ended up transporting themselves into the green. And so now separated, both trying to find one another so they can be able to leave this place. And so the story picks us up with Jennifer. Jennifer traveling with Jason Woodrue. And Jason is really explaining what this place is. Because Jennifer believes, this is defying all logic. This place should be impossible, yet she is sitting here standing in an endless field of green. And an endless world of green. But Jason really helps fill in the blanks for her, letting her know that some places are just infused with a kind of power that bend their sense of logic and reality all around them, kind of like gravity or music or art, and that those who are touched by this, they often find it impossible to return. And Jason, he's going to help her leave this place. But one thing he fears is that this place will never truly leave her. And we learn a little bit more about Jason. He's half formed, he's half unwanted. He seems to be the result of what human beings being in this place too long really start to turn into. And there's always some kind of great cost, a great cost that he's hoping Levi, the Swamp Thing, soon comes to realize. But Jennifer, she's unique. She's an anomaly in this place, drawn here through her connection to Levi. Now, Jennifer, up to this point, she's being very skeptical of Jason. First of all, this is a place she doesn't understand. This is an individual she doesn't understand, and she's just following him, hoping that he is being honest and bringing her to the Swamp Thing, bringing her to Levi. And so we see the two, they get into a canoe and they start making their way down the river. And after some time on the water, Jennifer feels like it's been like an eternity. Now that's an exaggeration, but time here in the green, it definitely is altered. It's changed and it doesn't move in the same capacity that it would in reality. But not only is she recognizing this, she's feeling like there's something off. She's not terribly worried about Levi, but the energy in this place is feeling very different. As if something is hurting the green. As if there's some kind of competing force here. And that's what will bring us to the Swamp Thing and Alec Holland. Now, Alec Holland, he is the original Swamp Thing, and Levi is just the newest iteration of many Swamp Things going back to the beginning of time. And right now, they're inside the green investigating a type of red flora that has been growing inside the green. Now this stuff, it started spreading about a month ago, and Alec has referred to it as the contagion, letting Levi know that it's been wrapping up everything that's within its path, mangling the green into a hideous version of itself. Now Levi, he's really still learning all of this information. He doesn't know much about the green up to this point, but Alec is going to do his best to try to guide him along the way. And Levi, what he doesn't understand is how this floral is not part of the green. If it is here in the green, how does it not belong here? And so this is where Alec bestows his real first lesson. And he tells him to put his hands on the ground, where the grass has freshly grown and he has new blades to be able to put his hands into. And he asks Levi to tell him what the green is. And with his hands upon the ground, he can feel the answer flowing through him, through all of the blades of grass, passing information into his consciousness. And he realizes that the green, it's a living place. It's a living place of information. It's an ever-changing atmosphere, but at the same time, it's persistent. It's a realm of impossible depths. And so the idea of ever trying to truly describe this place would be like trying to describe an eternal forest simply by its color. And this is where he learns that the green, upon the many things that it is memory. And not of just one consciousness, but the collective memory of all things green, across life and death itself. And they are currently standing in a place that remembers everything, through time radiating outwards in kind of like layers of a tree, like stories being passed down from generation to generation. This is one of the greatest powers of the green, but like all memories, it can change with time, distance, and context. And so it seems to be that something in the green, something is warping these memories. And if we can imagine a green that doesn't remember humans with benevolence, its memories are only them at their worst, at their flaws and their capacity for darkness. And if the green were to think this, we would have a much different world than what we currently have. And Levi, he can't help but think, if all of this started happening a month ago, that's when this all first started happening to him as well. So he's making the connection that he could possibly be responsible for what is currently going on. But Alec kind of reassures him and lets him know, all of this, it could be connected. There's a strong possibility that it is all connected. And he's really not sure what's causing the schism of red. But the part of the green that holds hope for the future, Alec likes to think that it chose him. And so the task at hand is for Levi to go find the first avatar. Because there's a power inside the first avatar, born from the first time the trees reached out to a human soul. The proto-myth that they are all made from. The first idea of a swamp thing. Now Levi, up to this point, this is a lot of information to take in. And he asks Alec, why would I be chosen for this? This isn't something I want. This has never been something I've been interested in. I never wanted this kind of power. I never asked for it. And Alec tells him, this is never something that any of them choose. With such terrifying power possessing them that the trees possess, anyone who would choose this for themselves, would you actually trust them to wield that power in the best way possible? And Levi finally starts to piece together that Alec was also once an avatar of the Swamp Thing, of the green. And this is where we see Alec start to fade away, because of the many places and the many things that this place is a memory. And that's exactly what Alec is. He is now one with the green, if you will. And his job is to be remembered. But Levi's job, his is to act. And so Levi makes his way over to the first avatar. Getting in front of his path, the first avatar is literally just laying waste to everything in his path. And at first, Levi, he's a little hesitant. He's a little scared. This is all so much for him right now. And he is absolutely terrified. He thinks about backing down. He thinks about walking away, but then he remembers. He remembers that Jennifer is out there. She's out there and she is needing help to be able to get back to their world. And with that, Levi finds his courage. He stands up straight and he faces the first avatar head on. And as he approaches, the storm around the creature, it grows ever more violent. Each time he becomes within reach, the golden winds slam into his body. And over again, we see him getting beat down. We see him getting torn. We see him getting scorned. And this is a fight that it's not even a fight. This is him just getting beat up the entire time. And as he sits here on the ground, trying to crawl away, a hand reaches out to him. The hand of Ivy. And Ivy tells him that these are memories. This whole place is memories. You can't fight him in this way. You can't fight him any more than you can fight a memory. You have to find another way to be able to do this. And this is when he remembers the lesson of the Pale Wanderer, that when two ideas meet, one must consume the other. And so with the help of Ivy using her abilities to anchor the first avatar to the ground temporarily, and the Swamp Thing, he reaches out with his arms, and we see vines going out in all directions. Tangling himself into the storm of the green's memories, he sees everything. He sees every memory as if it were his own, and he pulls them all into him. Among all of these memories are recollections of many lifetimes and many avatars. In all of this, he recognizes one specific memory that's connected to his own. The night that all of this first began, when he first got the abilities of the Swamp Thing, when it first chose him. And he watched again and again as his father took his last breath. But outside, in the swamp, his brother was raging. The power that he sought had forsaken him. But there's something unique about their bloodline. Some kind of ancient blood runs through their veins, and it bears some kind of power of its own. And with that, his brother, he swore vengeance upon everything, upon the world, upon his brother, upon the green itself. And as he did a blood sacrifice, cutting his hand open, as that blood hits the ground, it blossoms into some red floral. The same blossoms that are infecting all of the green. And as Levi reaches out and touches all of these memories, he can only bring himself to ask one question. What has Jacob done? What has his brother done? Now, cutting over to Jennifer and Jason. Jennifer at this point, she's found herself running from Jason. She doesn't find herself comfortable with him, and he's been acting very odd. And Jennifer goes running and she hides. She hides away only to be absolutely terrified by something that is standing behind her. So terrified that she passes out. Now, the individual standing behind her, we know as Swamp Thing. We know that it's Levi underneath there, but she still hasn't come to that realization yet. And we see the Swamp Thing carrying her fainted body. And Levi recognizes Jason almost immediately and tells Jason, we're not friends. You need to stay away from me, and you need to stay away from her. She is now in my care. And this is where Jason kind of starts to taunt the Swamp Thing, letting him know that she doesn't know who he is. She doesn't know that the monster he looks like. And she is going to be absolutely terrified. They all are. They all always will be. If he were just to look into his memories, he could see exactly how humanity has continuously treated the Swamp Thing, no matter what iteration it is. And now we see the Swamp Thing, he walks off, carrying her unconscious body out of the green. We see them disappear into the swamp and back into reality. And he gets her up, still woozy, still not understanding exactly what happened. They get in a cab and they start to head home. Now, up to this point, Levi's not even sure if they're gonna really talk about what happened, but she ends up resting her head on his chest, talking about the horrible monster, the thing that came from the swamp that she saw in her dream, or what she perceives to be a dream up to this point. And so this can only worry him about when he finally does have to come clean and tell her that he is the Swamp Thing. Now, back at the laboratory where they were running all of these tests and where they ended up diving into the green, we see a bunch of individuals running scans, doing diagnostics, looking for any kind of evidence that was left behind after all of this took place. And all of the information, it's all sent up directly to Mr. Pilgrim. And after seeing the information, he gets a direct line to Belle Reeve. And he gets on the phone with Amanda Waller and says that he has a rather unusual proposition for her. And he goes on to say and ask her how much she actually knows about the Holland phenomenon. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, I have been thoroughly enjoying Ram V's The Swamp Thing. He has done an amazing job of really having you dive into the story and really understand and empathize what Levi is going through, while also expanding so much on the green and the Swamp Thing and the world that this really is. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.